All right, we are live right now. I'm streaming to YouTube and Facebook and a few other of my social media pages. But I wanted to first off thank everyone who is currently reviewing my latest book, How to Experience More Peace and Positivity in Life. Thank you so much. I have been so excited reading your reviews and your testimonials, and it just means the world to me. Let me quickly double check. I'm just going to pull up a few different sites, make sure that the audio is sounding okay. I'll first check on the Facebook page, see how that sounds. That sounds good. Okay, so that is okay. Let's check out on my YouTube channel. We're just checking to make sure everything looks okay and sounds okay with the live streaming that we are doing. On Facebook, it looks good. YouTube is looking good as well. So that is sounding okay. We just have to check the audio, make sure everything is working properly. So thank you so much to everyone, again, who is reading my newest book, How to Experience More Peace and Positivity in Life, the 30-Day Challenge. This book is officially out. You can buy this on Amazon.com. You can buy it on my website, musicmotivation.com. You can have the PDF book or you can buy the paperback book. And so I would love to have you learn more about my book. We're going to start a 30-day challenge, since there's a 30-day challenge within this book, on how you can experience more peace and positivity in life. But what I wanted to do right now is to thank everyone who is reviewing my new book. I know I just came out with that book 2 weeks ago. I have my new book I'll be coming out with in 2 weeks, and it is my first full-length fictional book. And I am so excited about this book, and I can't wait to have you read this book. This book, the new book, is titled The Musical Realm. And so I'd like to talk a little more about that book. Let me pull up this screen right here. And what I want to do as I explain and talk about this, and I'll kind of, we'll make that a little larger. I'll be down here at the base. But what I want to do is have you look at this. This is on my website, musicmotivation.com/musical realm. So if you go to musicmotivation.com/musical realm, this is the page that pops up. Now, this is the first book in a series of 5 books that I have created, and I'm coming out with each book several months in separation from each other. I had the entire series completely outlined, and I'm going to explain a little more about that. I first started creating this series. I came up with the idea back in 2016. I started actively writing and mapping out the entire series in 2018, 2019. Now, this is book 1. There are 5 books in the series, and book 1 is completely finished. It will go live on November 24th. So we're almost 2 weeks away. Currently, I have people who are reviewing this book, and I would love to have you review this book. I'm looking for around 100 plus reviewers, and I'll show you 2 different ways that you can review the book, just some fun ways that you can start to learn about the book. But right here, let me explain a little about this, and I just want to walk you through this new book. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment. If you have any suggestions, let me know. But let me explain a little about this. So on the home page right here, musicmotivation.com/musical realm, if I click this to the right, you can see that it shows the cover image, front cover, back cover. This is what the entire front and back cover with the spine looks like. And then it has some sample pages from the book. You can go through and look at these sample pages. I actually am allowing everyone to download the sample PDF book, and it's just down this screen. I'll scroll down and show you where you can download that. It has the first 2 chapters from the book. Currently, I'm actually recording the audiobook that we will release, and it will go live when the paperback and the Kindle version. You can actually pre-order the Kindle version right now, and I will show you how to do that as well. I'll kind of walk you to that page. If you want to pre-order the Kindle version, you can discover it. It's on Amazon right now. The paperback version won't go live on Amazon until November 24th. So again, we have a few different things that we have happening at the same time. And I'm excited to have you start to look at this and what we can do with this. But let me just show you this, and I'll just show you. There are some sample pages, explains about some of my other books. Just kind of a fun view that you can to showcase some of what's in the book. Now, as we scroll down, on this page, you can download the PDF for $6.95. You can also pre-order the paperback for an additional $14.95. So right now we are doing pre-orders that you can pre-order the paperback book, and that includes free shipping in America, the United States. Outside of the United States, you would need to actually go and purchase that from Amazon if you want the paperback book, because we are not offering free shipping outside of the United States. Now, the first 100 books that we pre-sell on my website, musicmotivation.com, I am going to autograph those. Now, again, I'm just scrolling down, explaining a little more about the book. This is what the front cover looks like. Here's the spine. Here's the back cover. As I scroll down, it says The Musical Realm by Jerald Simon. Let me read the synopsis of the book right here. This is what it says. The Musical Realm by Jerald Simon. During his first piano lesson, Matthew, a 13-year-old boy, tells his new piano teacher, Mr. Darius, that he hates practicing the piano. The mysterious old piano teacher smiled slyly and proclaimed, as I said before, you will never truly enjoy practicing or playing the piano until you get inside the music. Puzzled, Matthew asked Mr. Darius what he meant. All of a sudden, the sheet music on the piano in front of him began to glow. The sound of thunder echoed from the music, and then a misty fog arose from the tattered and torn pages, and then mystically and magically filled the room. Without any warning, lightning burst from the music with a loud crack and immediately illuminated the room. All at once, multicolored beams of light instantly shot out from the old piano music in every direction. Various hues of color and dust that Matthew thought must be fairy dust or something similar to it floated around the room. What is happening, Mr. Darius? Matthew screamed in terror. This is the start of your first piano lesson, Matthew. You are finally going to get inside the music and discover what it is all about once and for all, my young friend, yelled Mr. Darius over the howling wind and the mysterious screams coming from within the music. It's time you learn the eternal importance of music, and you can only do so within the musical realm, explained Mr. Darius matter-of-factly. He smiled slyly, almost mischievously, and winked with his left eye. With that, Matthew was sucked into the musical score and instantly disappeared. Matthew enters a series of worlds unlike any he has ever seen before. His adventures take him on a search for the 7 sacred seraphs, the keepers of music. His only hope of getting home is to find the council of creativity and bring peace and order to the musical realm. Matthew learns how to look to the light and listen to the music within. He learns about the power of faith and overcoming the darkness of his fears. Now, that is just a brief synopsis of what the book is about. Now, this is only talking about book 1, but it encompasses the journey that Matthew is going to be taking through the entire series. Book 1, book 2 will come out next spring, 2006, and then we'll kind of separate and stage each of the following books in the series. And let me explain a little bit more about the series, because I mapped out the entire series before writing the book, and I'll explain about that. So on this page, again, this is musicalrealm.com. Sorry, musicmotivation.com/musicalrealm. If you go to musicmotivation.com/ musical realm, you can actually download the first 2 chapters from the book. Anyone can download. It's the sample PDF. If you click on the cover, then it will open up, and I'll share this tab right here so you can see this tab. It will open up a new tab, and the new tab has the sample PDF book. You can then go through and you can actually read the first 2 pages. So I'm going to stop sharing that, and we'll come back here to the front view just for a second. Let me bring up that home page again. We'll go back to the musical realm, and I'll share this entire page. So I just pulled that up right there. Let me scroll down a little more. If you click the free sample download or on the cover, you'll be able to download the first 2 chapters from the book. But this is what it says. It has a little more information about the book. Let me read this for you. Here is a little more information about the book, The Musical Realm by Jerald Simon. This is book 1 in a 5-book series. The other books in the series will be forthcoming. The official release date on Amazon will be November 24th, 2025. The genre is teen and young adult Christian fantasy, teen and young adult Christian action and adventure, teen and young adult Arthurian myths and legends. And then it says the dimensions are 6 by 9, just a traditional paperback, your standard size. There are 330 pages in the paperback book. The background of the book. Now, this is where I explain a little more about how I created and why I created the musical realm. I'm a piano teacher, and I'm a composer, an author, and poet, and naturally, I love the musical world. When I started creating this musical realm for this new book, I wanted to have everything in the book and the series correspond with music, music instruments, music terminology, the dynamics. Everything that you see in this book, it encompasses 4 to 5 different areas. One is music, everything to do with music, from the terminology, the dynamics. But what happens is everything, it's not separate, it's an actual character or a real life being. So when you start seeing some of the characters, you say, wait a second, I know why we have the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They're real life people. I know what Forchismo means because it's an actual building, an edifice. And so everything has a meaning, a purpose, but it all has to encompass and deal with music. We have a lot of Christian themes scattered throughout the entire book. We have a lot of philosophy scattered throughout the entire book. Self-help and motivation scattered throughout the entire book. And the 5th or final element to the entire series, throughout the entire book, I have weaved personal experiences I have had in my life. I have weaved this fun little interwoven sequence of not only my life experiences, but the names of my children, my wife's name, as various characters. I have put into the story different real life experiences that I have personally experienced, and I've added them to the story. Also, as part of this 5th element to the musical realm, within the series, and you won't even know it's there, but I'll have a word or a phrase. And it makes perfect sense with the paragraph or the sentence, but what you don't realize is that it's the title of one of my songs I've written, or one of my piano pieces or piano solos I've created, or it's the title of one of my motivational, inspirational poems I've written, or I will include or incorporate some of the elements from my motivation self-help courses that I've created, and their exact phrases or lines from these songs or these poems or these courses, but I've placed them into the musical realm where it fits the story perfectly, but you don't realize that when I'm talking about the firmament, I'm actually talking about a song I wrote titled The Firmament, or Wintertide, or Horizon, or and so I have all the way throughout, I have in book 1, I have most of the titles of the pieces that I've done it just scattered throughout. They look like normal words, and they are, but they're actually songs that I've created. So that's just a little background of the 5 components, all of these layers within the musical realm. Now, here it says, several interviewers continually ask me about the inspiration for this book, The Musical Realm, or the various authors that inspired me in writing this book. I came up with the idea for this book back in 2016. For the next 2 years, I came up with the characters, outlined various plots, and thought about what I wanted this book to be. I wasn't intending on publishing it at the time, since I had so many other books and albums I was working on at the moment. The book was heavily inspired by scriptures, religion, philosophy, music, C.S. Lewis, and Ogmandino, among other inspirational and motivational authors. In this book, I have tried to incorporate inspirational, motivational, and spiritual topics that teach values, morals, courage, and faith filled Christian themes throughout the book to help teens and young adults develop greater faith to overcome their fears. I began writing book 1 back in 2018 through 2019. I have worked on and off in finishing book 1 ever since. I started having the book reviewed and edited from 2024 through 2025. I personally printed out the book more than 30 times and had as many, if not more, drafts that I marked up, edited, and changed before having a professional editor edit the book. I have already outlined each of the chapters for all 5 of the forthcoming books in the series. I know the characters and plots of each book. I just need to finish writing the remaining books. Since I mapped out the books in their entirety before writing them, when you read book 1, characters and plots and even seemingly insignificant details will make more sense as they reappear in books 2, 3, 4, and 5. Even one sentence events that only happen in book 1, in the book once, will take on even more meaning in the subsequent books. Every detail from trees, fruits, musical instruments, necklaces, statues, artwork, and more are intentionally mentioned because they will play a pivotal role later on in future books. Every character, land, river, building, event, or experience in the book also relates somehow to music, musical terms, art, history, philosophy, religion, and so forth. Some of the main characters, Saint Summer, Preston, and Matthew, are my children's names. Summer, Preston, and Matthew. Don't take anything for granted in this series. Everything has a meaning and was thought out in advance before writing the book. This book can be read on multiple levels of interest and can be enjoyed by teens, young adults, and adults. I can't wait to have you read the series. The book is geared for teens and young adults, but many adults who have started reading it love it as well. I try to teach values, morals, and principles all throughout the book. There are Christian themes and parallels scattered throughout the book as well. Everything relates to music, looking to the light, and listening to the music within. I'd love to have you read the book. Thanks in advance. And then at the end, I actually have this little paragraph that says, if you know someone who has a podcast and they're looking for guests, I'd love to be interviewed on their podcast about my new book. I'm looking to be a guest on 1 to 2 podcasts per week. I'm also looking for vloggers, bloggers, and social media influencers who would like to receive a PDF review copy and share the upcoming release of the book with their audiences. So I have been interviewed. I was interviewed last week. I was interviewed the week before. I'm going to be interviewed on another separate podcast this week. I have another 1 or 2 next week. So if you would like to have me on your podcast or on your social media, I would love to have you talk with me about the book, and I'd love to chat. Let's see. Aditya says, hi, I'm your big fan. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I have a few comments from people, and so I will try to incorporate your comments. So thank you so much, Aditya. Neo says, hi, I'm your big fan. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I would love everyone's help in sharing this book, and this is going to be a grassroots effort, but I would love to have this snowball very quickly. Now, here is a review starting right here, and I'd like to share this. So, this is a review from someone who has started reading the book. We have several reviews coming in from people who have been reading this. We're going to have everyone share their reviews either on the 24th or the week of November 24th. So, if you would like to review the book, please let me know. I would love to send you a review copy. You can leave a comment below this post, either on social media, YouTube, wherever, and I'd love to send you a free PDF review copy. I'd love to have you share the musical realm and start promoting and talking about it with your family and friends. Now, this is a review. It's kind of a fun review. It says this. Here's what one person had to say about my new book. It's a witty and fun review. So you created Narnia plus piano lessons plus spiritual awakening. You know that moment when you read a book description and suddenly your inner child sits up like, wait, so the piano explodes into lightning and a 13-year-old gets sucked into sheet music? Why didn't my piano lessons do that? All I got was trauma and scales. That was me reading the musical realm. Matthew isn't just learning music, he's literally entering it. Thunder shaking the room, multicolored beams of light blasting from the piano like a spiritual EDM concert, fairy dust fog, mysterious screams from inside the treble clef realm. Sir, you made piano lessons look like a Marvel origin story. And then I read your author bio. You aren't just an author, you're a composer, poet, motivational speaker, mentor, and apparently the human version of caffeine and productivity. You've built entire ecosystems around inspiration, courses, community, motivational poetry, piano programs, and now a young adult fantasy series about music, purpose, and faith. You didn't just write a book, you're teaching kids that music isn't a chore, it's a destiny. Meanwhile, I spent 8 years in piano lessons and could still only play Twinkle Twinkle, The Betrayal. And that's Charlotte T. So thank you for reviewing that. I love the reviews that are coming in, and it's been so much fun to have everyone reviewing my new book. I don't have the physical copy with me right here. I have this copy right here as it goes through. This was my original copy that I formatted, and then we sent it off. I will be getting physical copies probably in the next week or two, and everyone who is pre-ordering the paperback, those who pre-order from my website, musicmotivation.com/musical realm, I will be signing all of those books that are pre-ordered, and I can do a little inscription, have my autograph, and have a little saying, if you'd like, in the book to address it to someone. I'm going to be doing that with those who purchase the book from my website. If you purchase the paperback from Amazon, they won't be autographed. Sorry. But I would love to have you start talking about the musical realm. As we continue to share this with others, I want to encourage everyone everywhere to get excited about music. The entire premise of this series is about learning to look to the light and listen to the music within. And a lot of it is deep. A lot of it is very interesting. Let's see, Naos, kindly tell me how a great musician plays suddenly when someone asked for a song and how they suddenly got chords, etc. You know what? That can happen. And you can do that. But what you need to do is you need to know the theory. You need to know the chords. You need to know music structure. So I had that exact experience, Naos, happen to me. I was performing early in our marriage. I played the piano at a restaurant in Salt Lake City called the Roof Restaurant. And I would go in a few times per week and I would play the piano at the Roof Restaurant. And I loved it, had a great time, had so much fun. And I had an elderly woman in her 90s. Now, this was back in the early 2000s, so it was probably about 2003, 2004. I had this woman who came and she asked me if I could play a song. I had never heard the song before, and she was shocked that I had never heard the music. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't know that song. And she said, you mean you don't know that song? It was one of the #1 songs back in 1913. And I said, I really don't know. I said, I'm pretty good with music from the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and moving on forward. I said, I know some music from the 30s and 20s, but music before the 1920s, I really don't. I don't have that in my repertoire. I don't know those songs. And she started humming the melody for me. And when you first hear a song, whether you're listening, I told, and I tell my students this all the time, if you're playing by ear, first figure out what the key signature is. Just by hearing her sing the melody, I figured out what key signature it was, and I started playing the melody that she was singing. Once I had the melody down, I didn't know, I've never heard it before, but I just faked which chords would go with it, because following the melody, I could then, once you know the scale of whatever piece you're playing, then you need to know the intervals. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th. You need to know the triads and the seventh chords. And all of that is actually included in my book, Essential Piano Exercises Every Piano Player Should Know, and my series, Essential Piano Exercises. But I sat down and I started playing and just improvising a left-hand pattern, like I teach in my book, 100 Left-Hand Patterns Every Piano Player Should Know. And then this woman, she turned to me and she started clapping for joy. And she said, I knew you would know the song. I knew you would know the song. I had never heard the music before in my life, but because she was humming the melody, I was able to fake it. I was able to pick out the melody with the right hand because I knew the key signature, and then I was able to pick out the chord progression and just kind of play around with the left hand because of what I teach with my book, 100 Left-Hand Patterns Every Piano Player Should Know. And so that's kind of a simple way, a simple explanation, but it's wonderful to start to embellish and improvise. So hopefully that suggestion helps. Let me go back to this right here. With this, since I have the entire book outlined, everyone who purchases the PDF book on my website, musicmotivation.com/musical realm, of my new book, The Musical Realm, they will also receive the PDF copy of my book, Sweet Melancholy. Now, there are 11 pieces. These are late intermediate to advanced level pieces. We have Sweet Melancholy, Shadows, Majestic, Sun Shower, Promised Land, Blessing, Through a Child's Eyes, Life Everlasting, Lavender Sunsets, Dreamland, Enchantment. I won't give away the plot to the story, but this book and the music in this book will set you up for book 2 and what happens in book 2. And so I don't want to, again, give it away, but this book and the music of this book comes into play at the end of the musical realm. Remember, there are 5 separate books in the series. This is book 1. The next book, everything will make perfect sense in book 2. I'll come back here to the front. Everything will make perfect sense in book 2 when you start to understand why I'm giving this PDF copy to everyone, that they can start to learn the music from Sweet Melancholy. And you can listen to the album on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, and it's wonderful, lyrical, advanced, almost a cross between classical, contemporary, and new age style music. But the music is very pivotal, especially to book 2 and how you can do that. Let's see, Naos, 100 left-hand pattern only follows C major. How can it help me play any song? So, what I tell people, and one of the complaints people talk about with the book 100 left-hand patterns is it's only in the key of C. Now, I tell everyone, key of C is the foundation. That's the starting point. You should be able to play anything in the key of C in any key signature. And many times in that book, 100 left-hand patterns, there's a section where I say, try to play all 100 left-hand patterns in every key signature, moving up in half steps. So when you learn one of the patterns in the key of C, what you're going to do is you're going to move up chromatically in half steps and try to play the same pattern in another key. So you start in the key of C, go to the key of C sharp. Now you have 7 sharps. Go to the key of D. Now you have 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Go to the key of E flat. Now you have 3 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat. Go to the key of E. Now you have 4 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. See what we're doing? We're moving up chromatically in half steps, and then you can play every left-hand pattern in every key signature. I teach it in the key of C because it's easier to learn in the key of C because you're not thinking about all of the sharps and flats, but also I don't want to overcomplicate it. And I tell people, some people will say, oh, 100 left-hand patterns is a book for children because all of the songs are in the key of C and it's not very difficult. And I tell them, you can make that book as difficult as you want. On the surface level, if you only play what is there, now it's a fake book, remember, 100 left-hand patterns, it's 2 books combined into one. You have 100 left-hand patterns on one side, one end of the spectrum, and then you have 100 songs in fake book format. I have a new book, well, I have several books I'm working on, but I have another book called Essential Fake Book Fundamentals Every Piano Player Should Know. We're going to be releasing that in the spring. That was pushed to the back burner a little bit because of the musical realm and what we're doing with this series. But that book, Essential Fake Book Fundamentals Every Piano Player Should Know, I talk about 5 different ways to play from a fake book. Now, there are 5 levels. The first level is you just play the right-hand melody as it is, and then you play the basic root note of the chord listed above, because a fake book only has the chords listed above the melody, and then you have the melody with the right hand. That's only phase 1. Phase 2 is where you're going to play the right-hand melody. You're still playing the right-hand melody, but the left hand you're going to add the chord, not the root note, but the actual triad or 7th chord. You're going to play the chord. That's phase 2. Phase 3 is where things start to change and become a little more challenging. Now you're going to play the root note with the left hand, and you can do it just as one note or as an octave interval, but the right hand is now going to play both the melody and the harmony. So I tell people in phase 3 of playing from a fake book, your melody is played with your pinky, and then the chords are below that you're playing with the right hand. So the right hand plays the melody and the chords. Phase 4, it becomes even more challenging. That's where we take one of the left-hand patterns from the book 100 Left-Hand Patterns, and we play that left-hand pattern, and the right hand is still playing the melody and the harmony. So you're playing both the melody with the pinky and the chords below with the right hand. Phase 5 is the most challenging phase because you're going to embellish the left hand with one of the left-hand patterns. You're going to play the melody with the right hand, pinky, and the triad or the 7th chord below the melody with the right hand, and you're going to embellish the right hand where you're adding to it, and you're adding scales, and you're adding. So phase 5 is the most difficult phase. That is how you take the 100 left hands pattern, and you can play it in any key, and then you can add it to any song. So if I learn how to do a 1, 5, 8, 9, 10 left hand pattern, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, in the key of C major, if I'm numbering from C, C would be 1, D would be 2, E would be 3, F would be 4, G would be 5, A would be 6, B would be 7, and the C above would be the 8 or the octave. 1, 5, 8 would be C, G, C. 1, 5, 8, 9, 10 would be C, G, C, D, E. And the D and the E are an octave above the C where you started. Well, that's 1, 5, 8, 9, 10 with the left-hand pattern. If I can do that in the key of C, then I can try it in the key of F major, F, C, F, G, A. I can try it in the key of D major, D, A, D, E, F sharp. I can try it in the key of E flat major, E flat, B flat, E flat, F, G. And see, my left hand is then playing it in any key. So if you have a chord above a measure, instead of playing the chord, play that left hand pattern with your left hand. And again, this is phase 5 we're talking about from my book, Essential Fake Book Fundamentals Every Piano Player Should Know. But we're not coming out with that book until the spring. I'm getting ahead of myself with that one. I'll let you know more about that as we get closer to releasing that book. But again, everyone who has been looking at my newest book, And again, this is the musical realm. You can visit musicmotivation.com/musical realm. This is where I'm talking about my newest book. This is not a music book per se. We don't have music in the book. This is a fictional story that I have written. But it teaches about music all throughout the book. All of the characters, all of the buildings, the landmarks, everything in the book has to do with music. Now, this is in English. Later on, we may start to translate this into other languages, but for now, I only have it in English, and I would love to have everyone review this book. You can download the free sample PDF copy from the website. The official release date is November 24th, 2025. So we're a few weeks away. I would love to have everyone start to share about this and let people know about the musical realm. I'm excited for this new book. And again, if you go to musicmotivation.com/musical realm, you can download the PDF book for $6.95. That includes the fictional book, The Musical Realm, and it includes the music book, Sweet Melancholy. So you get both for $6.95. If you add on top of that, you can pre-order for $14.95 the paperback book, the physical copy. This includes free shipping only in the USA. Okay, so we will ship out the books for free anywhere in the USA. If you live outside the USA, then I'm asking or encouraging everyone to please purchase the paperback book from Amazon on November 24th. That is when the book will be live on Amazon. So again, you can go to Amazon.com. Now, if I were to go right now, you can pre-order the PDF, the Kindle version from Amazon. If you go to my website, the musicmotivation.com/musical realm, you'll be able to download the PDF right now and start reading it. But let me show you this right here. If we're going to add a new screen, so we'll stop sharing this screen. I'll come back right here. Now we're going to add another screen that we can include. Let me go to Amazon.com right now. So if you go to Amazon.com and you type in The Musical Realm by Jerald Simon, the PDF book or the Kindle version will show up and you'll be able to pre-order the Kindle version. Right now, they have it for $4.99, okay, which is very inexpensive. That does not include Sweet Melancholy, which is what you'll get from my website, which is why mine is $6.95. But if you go to Amazon.com, you can pre-order this. Now, right here, it says this is, again, you're pre-ordering this. It will not go live until November 24th. This is the publication date. But right now, you can go through and you can see these are the different categories that we have. So we've had several people start to pre-download this. It talks about the 5 books in the series: Musical Realm, The Dismal Abyss, Age of Enlightenment, The Realm of Realism, and The Music Continues. This is book 1, The Musical Realm. Now, The Dismal Abyss will come out with next year, and we're just kind of spacing these out. Every few months, we'll be coming out with a new copy from the series. And so I can't wait to have everyone start to read this book, The Musical Realm. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I would love to have you visit musicmotivation.com/musical realm. If you go to musicmotivation.com/musical realm, and let me share that page one more time for you. On musicmotivation.com/musical realm, you can actually purchase the PDF book right now for $6.95, and you'll get the book Sweet Melancholy, the piano music, and you can pre-order the paperback book. But you can actually, if you scroll down the page, you can click on this book image right here, and you can click down where it says free sample download. Anyone can download the first 2 chapters from the book, and I would love to have you do that. So thank you so much. This has just been a little update about my latest project, my new book, The Musical Realm. I can't wait to have you read this fictional book, The Musical Realm. I'm so excited about this. If you would like to interview me for newspaper, television, radio, please reach out to me. You can visit my website for my contact info. If you go to musicmotivation.com, and I'll actually come back here. Let me share that page with you right here. Okay, so this is musicmotivation.com/musical realm. But at the top, do you see where it says Get to Know Jerald? If you click on Get to Know Jerald, it will take you to this page. It has all of my contact info. It says click here to connect with Jerald on his various pages. It goes through and has my bio. It talks about different speeches and presentations I give when I do motivational speaking. And then it has samples of my various albums that I've come out with. We only have a few samples. I have a lot of albums I've come out with and books. And then you can read testimonials. You can click here to download my resume. You can actually click on these. These are media ready files and they're at 300 dpi, high resolution, for the media, for stories, articles with the newspaper. But any inquiries, you can actually reach me at my cell number, my email addresses, my P.O. box, so you can go through and reach out to me. I'd love to have you connect with me, especially if you have a blog, if you're a vlogger, if you have a podcast, if you have a social media account. Let me know, and I would love to reach out to you and talk with you about the musical realm. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you again. I hope you have a great day. I'll be talking about the musical realm every day for the next few weeks as we are getting ready for this launch, and I would love your help in getting ready for the launch of my newest book, The Musical Realm. Can't wait to share it with the world. Hope you have a great day. Thanks so much. See you. Bye.